Okay, so let's get started. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm really excited about this session, and thank you, Isabel, for joining us. It's really a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for taking the time to talk with us about the ultimate toolbox for the customer success. So I'm Dan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Plant. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Plant yet, so just a quick introduction. We build Plant to help customer success teams grow and maintain fruitful relationships with their customers. So you can just think of it as the sidekick for trusted advisors. We guide the CSM every day through their customer portfolio, telling them which customers they should focus on. So I was thinking that as the CS position scope expanded from customer success being a tactic churn prevention function in their organization, and as they grow from this role to practically orchestrating the end-to-end customer journey, and CS nowadays plays strategic role in the company's success. So obviously we need tools to help us become more proactive and win the day. And this webinar is all about. So with one goal in mind, to help customer success team, which customer to focus on, which tools can help us win the day, and how we can optimize and be more efficient in our job. So I'm super excited here to have Isabel. She is an amazing member of the CS community, and I was happy to share the stage with her a few weeks ago at the Customer Success Festival. And by the way, I have some good news for you, because she is now opening a new podcast called the CSM Toolbox. The CSM Toolbox podcast. So I'm sure going to be a constant listener, and it's always interesting to hear your perspective on the industry. So make sure you subscribe after the webinar to the CSM Toolbox podcast. So that's all. We would like to keep it short and to the point. And with that, let's dive in. I'll switch to Isabel. The stage is yours.
Hello. First of all, thanks to the team at Plan.io for inviting me today. How are you? Where are you joining us from? Feel free to comment in chat. A bit about me. My name is Isabel Ruiz, and I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager at Pluralsight, based in Dublin, Ireland. My SaaS journey started 8 years ago in sales operations, moving to renewals, and I have worked for other great companies such as Intercom and Tableau. Feel free to connect with me via LinkedIn, Twitter, and Clubhouse. I launched a micro podcast called CSM Toolbox. I would really appreciate if you could listen and share. Today, we'll talk about tools that can help us optimize our day-to-day, improve our customer engagements, and overall provide a better customer experience. A few ground rules before we start, and these are the joys of working from home. In case if you hear any drilling or drumming, that's just my neighbor upstairs. So please bear with me. Our fearless leader, Shirley Chapman, EMEA Senior Director of Customer Success at Pluralsight, has named me Queen of Gifts, and I cannot disappoint, so you'll see a few in this presentation. Email is not dead, but I'll explain that later. And a few takeaways at the end. 300. What do you think this number means? It's actually 300 million daily Zoom participants in 2020. As well, Microsoft Teams reported 200 million daily meeting participants. Not surprising, I guess. We contributed to these stats. I want to share with you a quote from Claire Muscat that I believe it applies to what we do in customer success. Building a good customer experience does not happen by accident. It happens by design. Do you agree? So picture this. You decide to take a few days off. Everything is up to date. Future meetings are already scheduled. A team member has been set as a point of contact just in case. The job of a CSM is tough. It requires a lot of focus, and we get to wear many hats depending on the maturity of your organization. But when you're back, you realize a new marketing campaign has been launched, or a new product feature was just released. Your inbox zero strategy is out of the window. But automation and productivity tools are at our reach. You might think it's easier or quicker just to go back to emails, replying to that long email thread back and forth. When it comes to emails, we are fighting for the customer's inbox. We are not the only vendor. We are not even their only point of contact at our organization that is sending them emails. You might start to think, is it you? Well, it's not only you. 35% of marketers send their customers 3 to 5 emails per week. Again, I don't know how many emails your organization is sending right now to your customers, but you might want to have a look. And just a few stats here from HubSpot. 80% of business professionals believe that email marketing increases customer retention. Overall, there are 3.9 billion daily email users. And 35% of business professionals check email on a mobile device. So it is a tool that works. And that's why I say it's not dead, but there are other tools as well out there. And we can take advantage of that. And you will hear from your sales and marketing teams that they have been leveraging, for example, video as a tool now. Why haven't we? So let's open that toolbox. It's not surprising that one of the 2021 predictions to include in your customer success strategy, according to Insighted, says personalization will still be key. You want to engage with your customers. Nowadays, CS teams communicate in a digital space. Companies will likely need to increase their efforts if they are not doing that already. Contacting customers in a digital way, but still finding a balance between automated messages and a personal one-to-one high-touch approach. Personalization done right can create a better onboarding experience, quicker product adoption, and increased retention. So no wonder CS leaders want to focus their efforts on creating the right personalized experience in 2021. And when it comes to adding personalization, there are a few tools I'm currently using. Loom. Instead of going back and forth, as I said before, to that long email thread, or without having to schedule a Zoom call, you can actually share your screen, provide suggestions and insights in just a few minutes by sending them a quick video, letting them know about new features or highlight their current accounts. I have done mini business reviews this way, and just quick platform walkthroughs, just to name a few. And the customer can still comment or react to the video too. Quick and simple. This tool, Butter, they get a special mention here because their interface makes meetings more enjoyable. Butter is an all-in-one platform built with all the tools you need to host interactive workshops, training sessions, and live courses. Their integrations alone includes Miro, Google Drive, simple whiteboards, and YouTube, so you can watch videos together. And you'll be surprised once you are in the waiting room. No more staring at a dark screen. You can set the tone for your workshop with a unique welcome experience. Another tool that I will say is more of a productivity tool is Hugo, a tool for better meetings through centralized actionable notes. Hugo has 80 different templates for you to choose from. And the one that stood out to me the most in particular was their Gainsight QBR template. Safe to say, I was really excited when I saw it. Depending on the size of your organization and if the CRM resources are limited, this one is a keeper. Their integrations include link notes to meetings in Google and Office 365. It's Slack friendly as well, and you can have several team members editing notes in real time. And last, but certainly not least, Plant. Plant is a relationship intelligence platform built to help customer success teams focus on the right customers at the right time. Automatically captures customer interactions and product engagement, analyzes them for meaningful signals, and delivers insights to help teams predict business outcomes such as churn, adoption, and expansion opportunities. Plant is a platform that helps your organization grow meaningful relationships. It centralizes the information in one place, making sure it won't get siloed or lost. Your whole team has access to relationship metrics, whether or not they are in contact with the customers. You can get notifications and follow-ups on business meetings, get complete transcriptions of your recorded Zoom calls, and add notes and next steps. Create smart customer segmentations that fit your company's customer journey. One of their key features is called Watchers. Watchers can tell you when to get proactive with your contacts and what you should focus on. Are they a churn risk? How's the overall account health? When it comes to integrations, Plant syncs with Google Calendar, communication channels such as Slack and Zoom, just to name a few, and project management tools as well, and CRMs. Through these app integrations, every relevant meeting insight is actionable with your existing tools. Plant generates a meeting summary, save it as a meeting notes, synchronize it with your CRM records, or turn action items from your notes into actual tasks in your project management app. So, a few key takeaways. It is relevant to highlight that the interactions that these tools can offer and how they can benefit our day-to-day. Don't be afraid to experiment. When it comes to video, see what works for your customers. Segment and do a few test runs. By adding a bit of personalization, you are engaging with your customers and adding value. We are building trust in a new way now. Share with your colleagues your experiences, what works and what doesn't. We are creating right now, we are leveraging tools right now to make our customers successful at the end of the day. Thanks for joining. I'll be taking questions with Dan in a moment.
Hi, hello, Isabel. How are you doing?
Hi, Dan. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So good to be live and alive. So so yeah, it's sorry for the little hiccup at the beginning. It was a super interesting session, and I look forward to see what comes next and which other tools we need to we want to use. So there is a question from the audience, like, is there somebody asking, is there a thing as too many tools for CSMs, or the more the merrier? What's your kind of take on this?
Yeah, well, my take on that would be that it depends on the organization, because I mean, I'm part of quite a few communities myself, customer success communities. So I will hear from, especially from the startup, from maybe middle-sized organization where perhaps they are looking for a CRM, which definitely they will have to contact you then around installing, setting up plans. But I will see that I think between, and I think admin, between ourselves, sales, maybe I wouldn't hear that as much from marketing or products, but definitely when it comes to sales and customer success, I think just the fact that the admin that we have to do between calendars, even if we will have a CRM already built, just for us to go and add our notes after meetings, etc. I think you can obviously see what works. As I said, I think that at least in my very particular case, I will have, let's say, between the calendars, the CRMs, and all of that might be there. But even just the fact that I'm trying to find something that can disengage customers. So that's why I'm adding, I'm tweaking. But again, if it is, I'm thinking of a full enterprise. So if it's a bank, I even have seen the challenge where I'll send the video link and they're like, my firewall, my IT people is like, I cannot access anything outside of that. So I mean, obviously it varies. Yeah.
So what do you think is the key for a good productive toolbox for the CSM? How do you avoid, chaos of running, exchanging information between 9 different tools?
Well, I will say definitely with integrations, I know, and even the case of Plant as well, that I know organizations that will have, let's say, Slack, that if you can integrate with Slack already, that's great. I think obviously for the organizations that will use it, I'm not sure, for example, Microsoft Teams, the ones that will actually have Microsoft Teams, if they can integrate. I do remember seeing a while back, like the whole suite of integrations that they have themselves, but I wouldn't use Microsoft Teams too much myself. So the ones that might be more aware of. But yeah, I think when it comes to, I know a lot of organizations might use Zapier to actually integrate between different tools as well. So that already makes it a little bit easier. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, just trying to fully optimize our day to day. I think it's so many hours in the day for everyone, not just for customer success managers, but just for everyone to actually maximize the time.
Exactly, and so I think the reason I love tooling for specifically for customer success, I'm a big fan of productivity tools and think that would help us communicate better with our customers. But the reason I think that us as customer success managers, we can gain benefit from such tools is that at the end of the day, it's good to remember that as more productive we are, and the less time we spend on tooling, we eventually have more time to invest in nurturing our customer relationships, which is, I guess, what we want to do in the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So any other questions? Yeah, there is another question here in the chat box. So what do you think the future of customer success will look like in light of COVID? So do you think that we found the formula to replace face-to-face meetings through these tools, through, for example, Loom, and that's right?
I will say right now it will complement in a way, and even right now I discovered maybe just a few weeks ago audio for LinkedIn, like audio messages, and right now, as well as I mentioned in the beginning, Clubhouse audio will be big, or it is big already. I'm just, maybe I was discovering a little bit late myself, but just from that point of view, that if you already are if you're connected with your customer, with your main point of contacts on LinkedIn, audio message, perhaps. I mean, I wouldn't, again, it just perhaps not calling them. You don't know their situation at home, especially like if they're back in the office, fine, perhaps it will make sense. But I think for everyone, I know a lot of people will be missing just an office environment, going to offsites. And I think as well, a lot of these tools are actually perhaps replacing that, but I think it's more to us and to the customer that we're able to adapt really, because we all had to adapt in this same environment, instead of going to an office, working from home and all of that. So right now it complements, but I mean, who knows, hopefully we'll get to do those offsites and events, live events as before.
Absolutely. And I think this also relates to the next question. Someone asking, what is the best tool for better communicating with customers? Formal tools like Slack and email, or personal channels also work, like WhatsApp and LinkedIn, others? Yeah.
Actually, with WhatsApp, I found that with certain regions that customers will be quite keen, and this was definitely before COVID. Like some customers would be like, oh, can we WhatsApp? And I know a few colleagues were like, oh, we don't really do that. Like if we don't, let's say, like at other organizations, I will have had, let's say, my own mobile provided by the company, so perhaps. But I think there is a use case for that, because I have seen it, especially WhatsApp with certain regions that, but definitely let's say maybe not so much customer success managers, but definitely account managers. I have seen it use it. Again, it depends on the region. I do remember quite a few cases, not necessarily UK based, but perhaps outside Europe. I have seen it more common as a way of, like, if it will be Slack, let's say. Yeah.
So if I can add my personal perspective on that, is that I think personally that the more personal, the merrier. The more you go personal with the customer, because at the end of the day you develop relationship with the customer. So I think if you can WhatsApp them, that's great. If you can Slack them, by the way, this is why we use Loom. You mentioned in your keynote. The more we can personalize, the better. That's my opinion, anyway. And we have we have time for 2 more questions. So we have, following the communication question tool, is there a tool that can integrate all of them? Are you familiar with a tool that can consolidate all of those communication channels?
Well, I think it will depend which tools. And again, I think if they will look at Zapier, for example, I know that one is quite popular to integrate, and maybe then you will have more knowledge on that. But that's the one that I will see that if, let's say, in the case of many organizations that will have a chatbot or that will connect, and similar to Plant, I will say similar type of CRM that can actually connect with Slack, with Zoom. But that's the only one that I have seen myself to at least have several integrations for sure. Maybe if you have more context.
So Plant definitely integrates and consolidate all communication channels, but not as an operative tool that not as a omni-channel inbox that you can use to text with your customer. You just consolidate all that data into one place, so to give you signals and to help you keep track of customer interactions in one platform. But I think with there are several multi-channel inboxes that consolidate communications. Maybe that's an idea for another podcast chapter.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, and we have one last question. What do CSMs spend most time on? Do you have any idea?
Admin. Well, before it was offsites, I will say that before we would travel and then we will have to book time after the offsite to put everything together, follow up notes, etc. Well, no, I think meetings. I think at least I will hope that the most time spent is actually talking to the customer. So I'm just semi kidding in the admin parts. But yeah, I think, well, maybe the admin comes after actually talking to the customer. So I think that's where we should spend the most time on, for sure.
Perfect. And do we have time for one last question? Yeah. Yeah, let's take another one. So what tools are you using to facilitate meeting booking?
Oh yeah, I saw Sean's there. I think Sean, you answer yourself the question, or you answer your own question. I will use Calendly for sure as well, which I think I should have put in there. Just with just I don't know, changing my calendar a little bit. So I changed. I'm not using it as much as before. But yeah, for sure, Calendly. It was my to go to. I think when it comes to facilitate that meeting booking, I think as well with the templates that I was showing for Hugo, they do have that facility as well. But I think with them you do need to have a meeting schedule, and then it can actually work from Hugo itself. But yeah, I think you do need to have the meeting scheduled already. But yeah, I was actually using Calendly. I need to discover if there is the new Calendly as well. So maybe one more for me to research on as well.
So I use, just to answer Sean there, I use Mixmax to send inline meeting options, like meeting time slots. It's another effective tool, and I think that their meeting schedule feature is for free. So
cool, good to know.
Isabel, I want to thank you very much for joining us today. There are so many questions to answer, and I think that customer success productivity is definitely a topic we should keep exploring for in 2021, because the space is still growing. We're not sure yet what exactly it means to be customer success manager, and orchestrating this whole customer journey requires us to be productive, so we can be sure we invest our time on a focus on the right thing and on what's matter. So thank you very much for being with us today.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for inviting me, Dan.
And
thanks for everyone that attended as well.
Everyone. Yeah. We will release the recording. We will send you this by email, and for you and for those who couldn't attend the session. And feel free to subscribe to the CSM Toolbox podcast, and also add me and Isabel on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you, everyone.